Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a massive development in United States economic policy, a new bill with sweeping tax reforms and investment incentives, and how it's working hand in hand with new tariffs under President Trump's administration. There's a lot more here than just tax cuts. Let's break it down. So, first off, let's talk about the newly passed Big Beautiful Bill. It's a 981-page legislative package signed into law on July 4th. And while it includes tax cuts and spending shifts, it's also a calculated economic strategy with deep investment implications. Here are the headline features. Permanent individual tax cuts, targeted consumer relief, including no taxes on tips, overtime, and auto loans, injecting $100 billion in 2025. Here's where it gets strategic. Tariff sterilization. Tariffs are kind of like brakes on growth, while tax cuts act as the gas pedal. This bill tries to neutralize the drag from tariffs with business incentives, a kind of policy jiu-jitsu. So, the bill is really aiming to drive growth by introducing four main provisions. First, there's 100% factory expensing, then 100% capital goods expensing. Third, research and development expensing, but that's just for the United States. And finally, looser corporate interest deductions. These measures, are designed to boost investment and productivity. Now, to cover the costs, the bill actually includes $1.5 trillion in spending cuts. Most of these cuts come from renewables, Medicaid, though that's more about slowing the growth rather than outright cuts, food stamps and student loans. So it's a pretty broad approach to reining in federal spending. According to the Congressional Budget Office, or CBO, the bill adds about $3.4 trillion to the deficit. But tariffs are expected to raise roughly $3.4 trillion as well. So the deficit ratio stays pretty steady at around 6.2% of GDP. It's not quite the explosion that some people worry about, but, well, there are still some risks to consider. Let's pause and look at some potential drawbacks, because this isn't all upside. First, tariffs still hurt consumers. While tariffs raise revenue, they also raise costs, especially on imported goods like electronics, apparel and cars. That's inflationary and could reduce consumer purchasing power, especially for lower-income households. Next, research and development must be done in the United States. The expensing provision only applies to domestic R&D that could disadvantage multinationals with global innovation teams and discourage global collaboration. And what about manufacturing? Full expensing encourages factory construction, but if demand doesn't materialize, we could end up with what some call ghost factories, especially if automation or reshoring expectations are overestimated. Now, deficit stability depends on tariff revenue. The math works only if tariffs stay high, and that's a big if. If tariffs are reversed or underperformed due to trade retaliation, the deficit could balloon. And finally, spending cuts could hurt the vulnerable. Cuts to food stamps, student loan relief, and Medicaid may disproportionately impact low- and middle-income Americans, even if delayed. Politically, this could become a flashpoint in upcoming elections. So let's break it down. Pharma gets a bit of a grace period on tariffs, plus some wins when it comes to research and development. Industrials like Caterpillar and Boeing are set to benefit from full expensing. Tech and healthcare also stand to gain from the new treatment of research and development expenses. And, well, commercial real estate might just see a manufacturing construction boom as a result. The combined bill and tariffs are really a deliberate pairing with fiscal policy being used to offset those protectionist measures. Is this a more optimal policy mix? Honestly, that's something we haven't really seen in, 30 years. So what do you think? Is this the smart sequencing of policy, or are we maybe creating new risks under the surface? Let me know in the comments, especially what you think about tariffs as a long-term tool, the trade-off between growth and austerity, and the real-world impact of those factory construction incentives. And of course, if this video gave you some new insights, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay sharp.